been accepted, and we'll be going live in 3, 2, 1, and there he is. PG.
Good to see you. How you doing, sir?
I was just healing you in the background, just telling everybody that I am the pastor of pastors. Me, I'm a small pastor, you're a big pastor, so. Yeah, what a wonderful time. So, how is this lockdown treating you?
Well, we're doing great. Getting used to it, actually. And now, like the word on the street is that there's a new normal. So, it's becoming normal.
It's becoming normal. One of my pastor friends in London, he said, "Look, guys, we have to do church differently. Everything has to be different now. And let me tell you, even offerings are different now. Yeah, everything is different. We have to think about it differently." I laughed, and I agree. We have to innovate. We have to think differently. So have you found it to be something that has caused you to not just think differently, but also look at your relationship with your congregation and the people differently?
Definitely. It's you have to think outside of the box for every one of us to be able to go through this situation and turn out better than ever. People have been saying, "Oh, let's go back to normal," and I've been telling people around me, I want something better than normal. Yeah, awesome. I want something better. I don't want to go back to normal. For some people, normal is just doing the same old thing. For some people, normal is just getting by with your business. There's something better than normal, and that's the way I've seen it. So it has affected the way I treat my relationship with church members. I have to create a schedule to be able to say, like today now, I think I've called 4 of our leaders. And today I told myself, so how many of the leaders will you call on a daily basis? I have to make up my mind, maybe 3 or 4. And I was like, okay, that means in a month, I will have been able to go through like maybe 90, just calling like 90 of our leaders and ministers, just like that. I've been able to call 3 or 4 every day. So I got my PA to give me a schedule of all of our ministers across all our campuses, anyone that is at the minister level. I said, I want to be able to talk to them myself from time to time because we don't see often. I mean, I do Zoom meetings with them almost on a weekly basis, but we don't see physically. And I want to be able to hear them and ask them how they're doing, So everything has changed. Our world has gone digital. Everything almost, the only things that cannot go digital are the things that will not go digital. And some of the things that have gone digital may not come back to in-person again, not at the same percentage or level. I was talking to some of my prodigies, young business folks that I mentor, I think on Sunday night, and I said, travel is going to change a bit. Even e-governance is what government has been doing for the last 3 months now. Yes, even the executive council meetings and all that. And executive, what they call executive passage, executive movement, is very expensive for us. Now, thank God for this. Maybe executive movement will be reduced. It will be reduced so that because when an executive person like a governor or president or VP or minister is going somewhere, it's not one person. Sometimes it's 15, sometimes it's 20, sometimes it's and everybody has to go. But that chap is going to sit in his office now and have meeting with them in Abuja, and there's a lot of expenses have been cut off just due to lack of executive movement, as it were.
I was speaking to an entrepreneur recently that does a lot of business with government and all of that. And I was asking him, and he said, "My goodness, this is the best time of my life." And I said, "Why?" He said, "You don't understand. Government is actually doing Zoom meetings. I don't have to travel. I'm sitting down and we're doing meetings. It's cheaper for me. It's quicker for me, more efficient. That every time that I have to go, I have to pay hotel bills, that." He's just praying that it continues like this. So things are changing. Even the government has become a lot more efficient, and that's good. So you said something about technology, and I know that for you, you're one of those pastors that has been at the forefront of technology even before now. and you have used technology a lot in your services, in your church, and all of that. Have you seen that there has actually been an advancement between from March and today that we're going into June? Has there been a difference in the way that you have seen technology work for you?
Technology has, a lot has happened between mid-March and now, the last 10 weeks. Massive engagement that we haven't seen before. We've been, using social media, using live stream and all those things for a number of years. But what is happening right now is that the whole world seems to be moving in the same, which is going on, especially certain demography. In fact, the late adopters of technology, who the older generation, are all getting into it now. Yeah. People in their late 60s and 70s, because they know that's the only way they can see their children abroad.
I thought you were going to say people like
I spare you for this. I spare you for this. When I was at your 50th birthday, so I know that you are still in our generation. Boy.
Yes. So you're saying that they have
so
to
you can imagine grandparents, want to get to see the children, talk to them on FaceTime or Zoom, and all that. I've attended birthday parties, naming ceremonies on Zoom. Bob D did his 60th birthday, which day was that? Ovation, and everything was online, and it was great. I saw it and I was amazed at, he was saying, look, this is cutting a lot of cost for us. So everything is moving online. The rate at which church members are engaging technology is also amazing. Literally, it's amazing. Because people who insist on coming to church physically, in person before, they are now saying that, look, you can get the word, you can be discipled. A lot is going on online. Our small groups have moved online. So a lot of the small groups on Zoom.
Nice.
We have about 400 small groups now that are thriving on Zoom and Facebook groups and different things. So a lot is going, and it has taken a bit of time and pulling them. I was listening to a podcast just about an hour ago. Nikki Gombo, the pastor of Holy Trinity Brompton in London. And Nikki, a friend of mine, Carrie Newell from the US, was interviewing him and was asking him what was his philosophy about online before now. Nikki was like, look, I just thought if I went online before now for Holy Trinity, they have 5 campuses around central London there, and all of them have to be physical. And he said no online. Yes. And he said his own problem with online was that he thought it would be robbing some people of the opportunity of going to church, because people somebody may be watching from Nigeria or from Australia, and then because of that, they won't go to their own church. To their own, in the city where they were. And that was why he didn't want them to stream, But that by the outbreak of coronavirus in London, by the following week, he realized that not many people were able to show up. So it was a little gathering. They had service. By the following week, government was already talking about lockdown. So they quickly jumped online. And he said, we're online to stay forever. Even if the churches are packed out, we still stay online. Because now he has seen that so many people who were not coming to church before are now watching online, and they're giving him reports. Some of his friends, he said his friends that he just knew in the neighborhood that he will see when he is taking a run in the morning. Some of them have never been to their church. They've never asked him about church. But this time around, they will say, hi, Nikki, I saw you online and I enjoyed the service. I was like, wow. So, so that's where to be. I'm going to stay there because all the people have been trying to invite to church, but they won't show up. They're seeing me online, they're watching, and they're giving me their feedback, So it's interesting.
No. And that's it's a beautiful thing about what we're seeing, because we have to be very quick with changing our perception. And one of the things that has not allowed people to move forward is that change in perception. Are they going to change? And it's something that I hear often, especially when it comes to government, what are you doing about politics? Forget it, they will never change. You hear that a lot. Oh, Nigeria can't change. Government cannot change. Politics cannot change. Why are you wasting your time? What are you doing in there? So you hear all of these things and all. But What's your opinion? Do you actually think that government can change, politics can change?
I believe that government can change and politics can change. I just believe that there has to be some things, some processes that will set us up for more rapid change. And I think technology is playing a huge role in that, especially with the advent of the social media. Just that is going, the level of advocacy that is going on Instagram. Look at the issue of the black guy that was killed in America like a day or two. The kind of conversation that goes on social media. I mean, I tell my kids, I said, my first daughter is 16. And anytime I'm having this banter with her, today we say this banter. I said, look, she was supposed to get on an online course or something, and she forgot. And I said, oh, but your mom booked you for that. And she said, oh, but my mom collected my phone, and my calendar is on my phone. So I said, so that you're giving me the excuse that it's because your phone is with your mom that you forgot. I said, I grew up without mobile phone, and I kept all my appointments. So you can't give me that excuse. If this thing is really important to you, you have to note it and know that it's right here, or you've written it down somewhere else. So when you think about it from that point of view, the amount of advocacy that goes on social media and through all kinds of technology, and the young people are interested in what is going on just because we are bringing it to the platform that they are used to. Before now, you discuss politics on the page of newspaper, and the popular interviewers, but now that it's gone into what we do online, what we discuss online, so the more of that we get, the more things start to change, not only in Nigeria, but around Africa. A friend of mine contested for, they had the Burundi election last Wednesday. One of the presidential aspirants happened to be a friend of mine. He's a minister in Burundi.
Really?
And he's also one of the presidential aspirants. And I hope I didn't lose you.
I don't know what just happened. I'm still here.
Okay, I'm hearing you. But I can't see you.
I can hear me, but I can't see myself either.
Okay, I don't think it's internet. It may be internet.
Nah, I have no idea why. Okay, I have no idea what just happened. Okay,
okay, it's back. It's going to come back definitely. I think it's probably just fluctuation.
Finally,
yeah. So I was talking about the guy that contested in Burundi. I saw that where the politics is right now, perhaps was where we were in 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Maybe before President Obasanjo took over. That was where they were. Yeah. Either 20 years ago or 16 years ago. Because the guy that was there, he's been there for 15 years. He changed the constitution to have a
allow
third
him to
term
continue.
of 5 years.
I remember.
Yeah.
Yes.
Third term of 5 years. And that was very bloody and all that, but he insisted, and then he's still there. Now, he announced like a year ago to say, okay, he's not going to contest, but he put somebody else there. His chief of staff is the one that's now contesting. And now, just to call the long story short, the guy, the chief of staff is the one that they declared that he won the election out of our 8 people that contested. Now, this is where I'm going.
Okay.
I supported my friend, and all that, did all kinds of things to help him, introduce him to people, and stuff like that. But about a month ago, I was telling a mutual friend, I have a few friends in East Africa. This mutual friend called me from Uganda. And I was telling him, I said, Moses, I said, it's not likely our friend will win because this is Africa. That guy that is the incumbent as a candidate, his closest rival, sorry, that's a power cut. It's going to be restored.
I love it.
Yeah, so I'm improvising. Yeah. Or they will restore the power. Yeah. So, like I was saying, his closest rival, who is also a warlord, is there.
Yes.
So, before we can say that Africa, Nigeria, and that our politics is going to, be that thing that will change drastically, we need to start moving things in certain direction. In Burundi today, they are still working on an old template. In Nigeria, in my opinion, we are in between templates. Yeah.
Okay.
So if we say that we're supposed to be on like iOS 12.0 or something like that, we're probably in 5.0. Like, when you say fourth generation iPad, all those things that we say about technological improvement. We're like in second generation when iPad is already in fifth generation. That's how it is. Why Burundi, they're not even using iPad at all. Yeah, they've not even started using iPad at all. You understand what I'm saying? So that's the way I see it.
I hear you.
So there's a lot that needs to shift. There are processes that need to be in place so that we know that we're focusing more on institutions, not people, not specific persons. I think our focus is still very strong on persons, not institutions.
Yes.
And it's looking like, if I might preempt your thoughts a bit, as a pastor, I feel that it's the same thing that is also happening in the church. Our focus is too much.
Why?
No, our focus is rather than building strong faith-based institutions, we're focusing on people, human beings. And, like Obama said in Ghana a few years ago, that Africa doesn't need, or was it in Kenya? I think it was in Ghana. He said that Africa really does not need strong men. We need strong institutions.
So how will these institutions be built? You see, everything that you have said is true. One of the fallacies of our life here is that we know the truth, but nobody is willing to do the truth. Nobody is willing to actually implement it. Yeah. So Burundi has Nigeria, you said 20 years. So they have an example of what, if they continue doing, will be done wrong. But yet they are still doing what is wrong. So what will change all of these things?
The only thing that can change this thing is for us to have people who will sacrifice on our behalf. Every institution that is solid and that will thrive, the foundations will be laid on the sweat and blood of sacrificial people. That's how
and we don't have them.
Yeah,
we
have them. Is a level. It's not difficult to find. It's just that we have people, but the generality of the people, we don't seem to be truly ready. I'm hoping that something will push us in the direction of readiness, that will fast track our readiness. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. My friend was sending me images from his campaign in Burundi. So after a while, I told myself, let me go online myself and check the other contenders and see what the images of their campaign looks like. So I went on Al Jazeera, and I was checking the number 1 and number 2. So maybe it's like number 3 or number 4 on the contender list in terms of number 1 and number 2. These are quote and unquote guys I should be voting for them. Because this guy, includes the guy that is there right now.
Yes.
Can you believe that this guy has not left Burundi in 5 years? Has not stepped out once.
Wow.
How do you rule a country and you have not even come out of the capital city in 5 years? It's very laughable.
No, he's afraid that if he goes out, they will just take over the palace.
Yeah, they will take the power, because that was what happened a few years ago. The last time he went out, there was a coup.
Oh,
so you see how backward things are in that place, because a president is on a lockdown in his own country.
Oh dear. So why did he decide this time around to hand over? Why did he not just do another extension of power?
Well, I guess he knew that it's not going to work for him to insist on staying there. He knew that people wanted something fresh, something better.
Mm.
So, you know, the template in Africa is that we will then put somebody that we can control. So the guy that's now like his chief of staff and all that, who had been a minister under him, who's now, so, you know, put him there. So it's de facto, in fact, they now did something to their constitution to make sure that he will be called maybe supreme leader or something funny like that. He has a new title. You understand? He has a new title. I know that. So this just says, I mean, speaks to where we are in Africa generally. Nigeria have made a lot of progress. But back to what you are saying, back to what you are saying earlier. We have people like you. We have other people who are ready to change things. But there are questions we need to ask. It will take a level of sacrifice, and you need a lot of encouragement by the society, by the community, because you know there is a Chinese proverb or so that says that when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. It means that
ahead.
So our people ready.
Things.
Yes, are they ready for you? Are they ready for people who have their best interests at heart? Those are the questions we should be asking. Those are the questions that even we pastors should be pushing out more to the people. You know, it's one thing for me as a pastor to say a church member wants to contest, everybody vote for him. But the truth is that what this person would be willing to do, focusing on building institutions, you know, and not everybody knows that if you are in politics now, we can't say you are going to politics, and I'm not holding briefs for you or blowing your trumpet. Yeah. I've known you for a few years. I've seen, you know, what you've done. I've met your wife before. I'm a doctor, you know, and all that. I'm not holding brief for you. But the truth is that you couldn't have started a company, run it to the level where it is right now, step out of it, literally, have other people to run it, and then you are going to government to go and make money. Which money are you going to government to go and make? Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? So, which is why I said we need people, you know, more like people like you who can go there, not because you need money or you need more money, but because you want to use your influence to turn things around. I believe that's the only way we can build institutions. Yeah.
So we're getting into the real stuff now, really deep, and or let's even go deeper. So you know that I went into the political terrain, and one of the things that I saw basically during the campaign and all was that the voice of the church, right, really did not matter. People use the church, politicians use the church almost as a rubber stamp that they went to greet them, and they went and saw the church and they just waved to them. But the of the elections, whoa, we lost you. Okay, people, are you still there? We lost Pastor Goodman, so can I have some signs that you're there while we wait for him to come back on? Yes, you are. Okay, excellent. So just stay on. I expect that he will be coming, logging on very shortly, but we're about to get into the tougher parts of this business. As many of you know, I went into politics, and I've been a businessman. I've been a minister for many years in the church, and we got into politics, and I saw things within politics that requires that we begin to question, or we call again to question what happens between the church and what happens between the church and the and politics. So that's where we are. We are looking at this. We need to know, does the church really play a role? And if they play a role, what type of role are they playing? Have the roles that they've played before now, has it translated to anything different? I don't know if you are anything like me, but I questioned the fact that And I wanted to understand that why is it that you would find people who would be very good in church? They'll be ministers, sometimes they would even be priests or pastors, and then they will get into politics and then they will change. They will no longer be the same person that we saw. What is it? What causes them to change? Is there something in politics? Is there something about power that causes people to change? And those are the questions that I have. That's what sorry, just yeah. So my guest is back. So those are questions that I have, and I really, really would like to know the answer. And I'm hoping, okay, hey,
Okay,
the boss.
I'm back. Sorry about that.
But you know, both of us are ministers. We better start binding and tying down all these these technological spirits.
Yeah,
But
sorry
anyway,
about that.
no
Yeah,
problem. I was just
okay.
while you were away, I was just talking
Yeah.
to our viewers and telling them that we're about to get into some of the deeper issues which I needed to know from your perspective.
Mm,
I'm a minister in the church, but
mm,
unlike you, I don't run a full service where I have to every Sunday I have to counsel, see people, preach to them, and
yeah,
all of those things. And you
yeah.
hold a generation right now that you're building up. The question I asked earlier on, and I want to ask you now, is that I've seen many times that you would have people, ministers, sometimes even pastors, priests, and all of that, that go into politics, right? And
Mm,
they go into government, they are made ministers, or they become governors or something,
mm,
and they
yeah.
switch. The person you thought you saw before, someone that you knew that, oh, this one was very, very godly, very strong, will get into
Mm,
politics and just change. You don't recognize the person again. Why do you
mm.
think? What happens? What's that about?
Okay, my explanation would be that as it happens in politics, it happens in business and a few other areas too. Uh, I'm in my, I'm going to my late 40s now, but earlier, uh, like 5, 6, 7 years ago, I had guys that were just getting to 30, 32, who just hit billions, just like that. You know, the days of all this oil and gas, quick money,
Mm.
or real
I remember
estate,
it
quick
well.
money,
Yes, yes.
you know. But you realize that the moment it happened, it disappeared from church. You really can't get them again. They can't take any responsibility again. They start to fly around the world and all that. And it's the same thing for politics. I think there are a few things that are responsible. One is that I think the church has not done a very great work at discipling people. Yeah, that and part of the deception of the Nigerian church is something that, well, I'll talk about it. I always try to shy away from talking about it. The African church or the Nigerian church will have our own seduction or deception. The American church or the Western church, the Westernized church, they have their own deception. I mean, in Nigeria here, it's still almost like a taboo to have uh, a gay priest. Whilst in other parts of the world, because of their seduction is slightly different. It is money plus political correctness plus postmodernism, and secular humanism. Those are their seductions. Yeah. But in this part of the world, our own seduction is materialism. Yeah. People coming to church just because of money. Our own seduction is mixing African traditional religion with Christianity, where people need something. They consult pastors as if they're consulting herbalists.
Yes, yes,
Herbalists.
yes,
So
yes.
that's where the problem is. When you look at that, then we if care is not taken, we'll continue to raise people who cannot lay down their life for Christ. They're just looking for what to get from Christ. Yeah. They're just looking for what to get from God. So when such people vie into for political office and they get in, well, they have gone. Because God has answered their prayer, and because they just wanted to use God as a means to an end, They have
Thank
reached
you.
the end, so we are finished with God.
So
They don't
okay.
have a continuous relationship
No,
with Him.
and look, you're so right about this because these are things that I saw. Um, I saw also that, and I had to say this to someone that if you are not deeply rooted and you don't know yourself in Christ and you go into politics, you can lose your salvation. You can,
Hmm.
you come very close to losing your salvation because the way politics views the church, yeah, they use the church. The church is not seen.
Definitely.
The church is not seen as an instrument to correct. It's not seen as an instrument for direction. It's not seen as an instrument for inspiration. Nothing. It's seen essentially as a place that you just go because you want to get something to. It's a means to an
Yeah.
end. End of story.
Yes.
So they
Yeah.
have no respect. Then, so you are now in politics and you see men of God come in, men of God coming to tell you things that you are like, oh my goodness. Where do the men of God, where do they draw the line? Should they draw the line? What exactly should we be doing? You talk about discipleship, but how do we change it?
You see, there are many charlatans on the pulpit, and they're creating problems for us.
Yes.
Because for somebody to go to meet a politician as a pastor, either to give the politician a word or to try to curry favor without the first thing on your mind as a man of God being, how can I partner with this person to better the lot of the people? Then the foundation is already wrong. If as a man of God, I'm approaching a political office holder and I'm just looking for what to get or just to and all that, the foundation is already wrong. The office I occupy for the people, not for myself. Yeah. If there are no people, there can't be a pastor.
Correct.
The pastor is there because there are people. You can't pastor yourself, except you are just a funny person. Yeah. You can't just say you are a pastor if there are no people. So yeah, just in the same way, even politicians, they can't do. That's why politicians don't like revolution.
Yes.
Because you cannot govern a state when there's no state. When the people say we are no longer part of this thing again. You understand what I'm saying? So the real issue here is that if I will backtrack a bit to what we're discussing that time about institution and all that, we need more people who will be willing to sacrifice the work of all of us, from pastor to people in the social sector, the civil society organizations, to even people in the private sector, is to ask ourselves, how can we sway Nigerians and get them a notch higher to the point where they can cope with leaders that are upright, leaders with genuine intention, leaders who will not pander to their idiosyncrasies, but will focus on how to move the country forward. Yeah. Because that's go on, sir.
You know, hey God. You know that the church has failed politics. You know why?
I agree.
Okay. Yeah. Now, one of the things that I discovered going in is that we were never prepared from a spiritual understanding, right, of what you are going to see when you cross the line into politics. Had it not been for very personal conviction and relationship with God, personal and all of that, I would have been blown away completely. Blown away. Look, you are aware, right? I don't know whether you are aware. But as part of a journey in politics to go from at a campaign from one place to another, are you aware that you will go into places, and in the places that you have gone to greet people, you are walking into that place, there's a shrine next to you.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
They say you should come for a meeting, and you go to a community and you go to the meeting, and the meeting is held right where they have their sacrifices for their gods and all of that. Now, what is going on there? Now, if you do not understand who you are in Christ, and you enter into that place, automatically you have just given yourself down to the gods of that place.
Yeah.
But nobody prepares anyone for that.
Yeah. What you're saying now, to me, hearing you as a pastor, I'll agree with you perfectly, especially from the point of view of the fact that the church has to be more strategic than we are right now at deliberately preparing people for politics. Because politics, the power of the state, is the highest level of power in the natural realm.
Yes.
And when that power is given, even God recognizes it.
Of course. Yeah. Of course.
You have to entreat God with sackcloth and ashes if you want to wrestle it from that person. You can't take it directly. Yeah. Because that's the highest level of natural power, is the state power.
Yes.
You know? So the devil will not take it lightly.
Okay.
For a righteous person to hold on to the highest level of power when you already have the spiritual one over him, that you are bouncing him all over the place. You understand? Yeah. You already have the power to bind him in the spiritual. So you now want to take the natural one, the highest level at that point too. You know? And that's the mistake we're making. We have the spiritual power over the devil, but we don't have the natural one because the power of the state is the highest. And the devil wants to keep people there who don't know God. Yeah.
Okay.
And who don't have
the way that we have taught to get that natural power is that you decree it, you speak it. So somebody comes to you and says, Pastor, I want to run for governor. Pray for me. Then you pray, pour anointing. You say, I decree you shall be governor and all of that. And then he goes and fails. The reason why you have decreed it, you've used all the scripture to decree it, but it does not win. Is that not saying that there is a different process? There's a process that they must understand for them to secure that power seat, and it's not just by decreeing and praying.
You are spot on. You are spot on, because in the same way that your pastor cannot lay hands on you to become a pilot, so that you'll be flying jets. You have to go to flying school to become a pilot.
I hope you heard that. I hope you heard that.
Yeah.
Please repeat it. Because that's
what there's no amount of anointing or handling that can make you a pilot. You have to go and learn how to fly a jet. You know, nobody, you see, Mr. Cole, nobody will enter a plane. Yeah. Call it any airline. If they told you that the pilot didn't go to flying school, his pastor just lay hands on him. His pastor lay hands on him. So he's flying you to London. Come and enter. You won't enter. Yeah.
But meanwhile, this is the very attitude that we take.
Yeah.
You know, so you know that part of my journey, I'm in school right now. I'm in Oxford on transformational leadership to understand exactly what. And somebody called me once and said to me that, where are you? I said, I'm in Oxford. He said, to do what? This is a politician. To do what? I said, that I need to study, that nothing happens under the sun. This whole journey in politics, with something, we must understand it. And all. I said, you don't need to go to school for that. You don't need to just come and stay on the ground. What are you doing in school? Just come. You don't use that. You don't need that to win elections here. I said, it's okay, no problem.
It's the operating system that the person is used to, the way they have packaged the thing. Truth is that the way it is right now, they have created a system that will fence out someone like you who has gone to Oxford. They want to make sure that your Oxford knowledge is useless.
It's useless, exactly.
Yeah, because they put a structure in place for that to happen. And those are the things that we need to start turning around. So apart from pastors praying for people and laying hands on them, we need to see how do we aggregate people of the same interest in politics. How can we, start to talk to them? I mean, I was engaging the DP once, and I told him, and this is almost like a public this thing, but I can say it. Well, I told him, I said, sir, we need to gather people for you to mentor. Yeah. So that all your experience.
Just asked my next question. Yes.
Yeah, all your experience as VP for 8 years, you won't just keep it to yourself. There are people, people who are learned, whether, I mean, Christians, even people outside of the church, but that share the values of the kingdom and are learned, that can come around you and learn. They can understand what you have seen, what you have gone through, all the different structures, and then they can come up with superior ideas on some ways to overturn those structures, not for themselves, but for the purpose of the people.
Okay.
Because politics is useless without the people.
Yeah. Look, you know, there's something that you just said there, and this is the question that I was going to ask you. Because you sit in the council, you know, when all the general overseers are sitting down and talking, you can enter me, I can't enter that meeting. But the question, that I have to ask is this: in INEC, all through, we have people who are Christians, we have Muslims as well, but we're speaking now pastor to pastor. We have people who are Christians at different levels in INEC. In the Nigerian police, we have the same. In the judiciary, we have the same. In political parties, we have the same. These are church-going, tongue-speaking, prophetic, Bible-carrying, preaching men and women. How come we don't have those people discipling our young children inside our churches, that when this is what you should expect when you get into politics, this is what you should be looking out for? Why are we not gathering them to come and teach the same way we teach evangelism, the same way we do Bible school? Why don't we have within the churches a school for politics? Why don't we do that? We teach business. We teach people how to make money.
Yeah. It's a disconnectedness that has pervaded the Nigerian church, if I will put it that way. We're so disconnected from the reality of the fact that the church is supposed to be the center of everything. Center of civilization, center of development.
Yes.
Jesus said, as long as I am in the world, I am the light of the world.
Yes.
Yeah. I am the light of the world, you know. And what is light? Light is the foundation for development. Before God created the heavens, the first thing is let there be light. And light speaks of direction, illumination. When my wife was at Oxford, studying in Oxford, for a postgrad a few years ago, about maybe 5 or 6 years ago. One of the times I went to visit her, and I saw, you know, that the motto of Oxford University at the lobby of the side business school there, the Lord is my light.
Yes.
And so if an institution, back in the day, when they started all those institutions as extensions of the church, they know that here we're dealing with knowledge, and we know that knowledge is light. You know, so, but the church, we saw our light from the spiritual point of view. We didn't see it as development of human capacity, development of infrastructure and all that. That's the light. That's why they say today that in the church in Nigeria, church in Africa, we're extremely religious, but we're not focused on how we're going to develop. You know, so the poverty is pervasive, there's lack of infrastructural development, because we didn't understand infrastructural development as light. We didn't understand education, literacy as light.
So we just focus on spirituality.
And you see, a young man doesn't have to be saved to begin to enjoy the light of God. The moment you send that guy to school,
that's true.
Light is the identity of his life start to change immediately because he's learning. Then meeting Christ then prepares him to have a relationship with God and go to heaven. But in this world, God is not happy whether somebody is saved or not. Anybody that's living in poverty, it breaks the heart of God.
It breaks my heart.
It doesn't have to do with salvation.
Yes.
Anybody that is not living well in this world, God is not happy about it. So if we understand that, the church will then do a little more to say, look, that power of the state that has the capacity to change people's destiny with a stroke of the pen, to write the law, something into law, to sign budget, to appropriate budget, to appropriate resources. How can we play at that level? Let me give you another example of what I'm talking about. In the church, we pray for people to be healed.
Yes, all the time.
All the time. And people get healed.
Yes.
But medical science is the wholesale of healing.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
course.
So
Of
when a
course.
state is running and is running its medical science well,
Well,
hospitals, everything
yeah,
is running
God is
well.
happy. Of course.
God is happy because people are well. People are okay. Yeah, people are okay. I mean, he wants to show his power to heal the people who may not be able to afford that or something like that, or whom medical science may even have said, we can't do anything about your case again. Then God
Then
steps
that's where
in.
the church comes in. Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying? But at the level of dealing with millions of people, the state has to work right. When we say thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. What's the
Yes.
will of God? Yeah.
Yes.
I wish
Yes.
above all things that you prosper and be in health, even as your soul prosper. And
Mm-hmm.
that's for everybody. You know.
But you know, it is. And you look, one of the things that we see and that we know is that God hates poverty. We know it. We know it. But one of the thing that has kept the church out of politics and out of business and out of trying to influence government, work with government to remove things like poverty and health and all of that, is that they say that, you know what, you as a pastor, you cannot be partisan. You cannot go and support any party. So as a result of that, just stay out of politics. Don't show yourself to be one party or another party. You have congregational members that are this way or that way, so don't get involved. And as a result of that, many churches have chosen not to get involved. How should they get around this point?
Well, with the little understanding that I have of that arena, I know it can be a bit tricky. But
Very
I
tricky.
think if truly we are going to get the real change that we want, we have to find a fine balance between church being apolitical and church having a political agenda. So, okay, I will explain. For the church to be apolitical, it means the church cannot necessarily say, this is the political party that we are supporting.
Okay.
But when the church has a political agenda, we know the kind of people we want. We know that we want character. We want competence.
Yes.
Yeah, we want competence.
People
we
who
want
serve.
somebody who is enlightened. People who are coming to serve.
Yes.
And not to be served. All those things. When we put all that in place and we say, what are the issues? The church, we need to get to a point where we run surveys, we work with data.
Thank you.
And with data, we'll be able to say, look, these are the number of people dying of maternal whatever every year. These are the people dying of this disease. These are the people who are not able to go to school. So if a government is coming, which of these problems do you want to solve?
Thank you.
You want to get our children back to school. So we will know that. And the church will then say, look, vote the government that will get our children back to school. Vote the government that has competence and all that. So with that, we have a political agenda, but we can still be apolitical.
I love it.
And with that, without saying it overtly, all the Christians know who to vote for.
So one of the things that they've used against the church, right, and politicians have used this, is that they have used fear, threat. Oh, I saw you. For example, now they can come and say, "Oh, I saw you speaking to Tonye on IG Live." So that means that you are an APC pastor, and so they will now PDP. They will deal with you completely. If it's a PDP government, they will shut you down, come and harass you, and all of that. So as a result of that kind of thing, I know many pastors. I know pastors that refuse to see me. They wanted to see me at night. Don't let me see you during the day. This man will come and say this, and I'm like. Is it me that you are seeing, or are we dealing with the issues of state? How do you get away from this?
I think we also need another level of boldness, and then we have to be sure that we don't have skeletons in our cupboard as pastors. No, that's the truth. Yeah, because
that's where fear comes in. Yes.
Yeah, we have to be sure that we don't have skeletons in our cupboard. A lot of the time when I sit with my head of admin or CEO, I tell them, you know what, this job, I want to do it and finish my course I'm not a candidate for jail. So you people, you are the one managing the resources of this church. Manage it well. Don't put me into any kind of trouble, because part of my plan is to finish my run well and hand this thing over to the next person. So if a pastor, I mean, if you're prepared to live like that, okay, so you want to check my account, go and check it now. You know what is there. I mean, I didn't take money from anybody. I didn't touch church money, you know, all those kind of things. Everything is okay. This is what I do. This is what I don't do. So if you say you are coming after me, the assets that you want to come after, it's people's assets. It's not about me. People should be able to fight for their assets. Yeah.
Good one.
The asset of the church is almost like the asset of the state. It's for the citizens. It's when pastors feel that what the church owns, they are the ones that own it. I can separate my self-esteem from our church. I have my asset. It's different from the asset of the church. And my asset, I can prove how I got it. You understand what I'm saying? So, I mean, that kind of boldness, then plus the boldness of the power of the Holy Spirit that God has given us, will not make us to be afraid of anybody. If you want to come against it, come against it. You are depriving the people. The people should be able to also say, look, there's no reason why you should do this. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the way I see it. Yes, sir. Yeah.
You know, I don't know where this 1 hour disappears to. I'm just looking at it and I'm now panicking. We have 4 minutes left. We have 4 minutes left. But look, you pastor a generation. And for those of us that have been working in this period in COVID, just spiritually and just downloading what heaven has to say spiritually, this is the time for that generation. God is just lifting them up such that they will make a difference. So the question is that, do you see them as the people that would actually change the institutions, government, politics, and are you speaking to them to take it more seriously?
We are speaking to them, and the truth is that the generation of people in their 30s and 40s right now, there's a danger that they stand, which is that if they waste time, if they don't get it, that the king's assignment is urgent and you need to get in there, they will be the sidestep generation. The sidestep generation.
By the 20s.
Yes, because before you know it, they just realize that they are in their 50s and 60s and they are still waiting. Because when they say you are the coming generation, when are you going to come? You understand? Always coming generation. So we need to push in right now. A lot of them, by the way, are doing very well in entrepreneuring and enterprise development and all that. We just need to shift that thing a little bit more. We need to shift that thing a little bit more and shift it for them to also see a reason why they should deploy some of those energy into politics and begin to form caucuses for that purpose.
How are you doing that? Maybe you can. How? What do you suggest?
Okay, one of the things that we are doing, we have some people, you know, in groups that we're mentoring. For leadership development, the ones that have political inclinations, they're also there doing that. There's also an institution. I just interviewed the person that will be the CEO last week or so. We call it PC's Life and Leadership Institute. One of the main schools in that institute is the School of Politics. Yeah.
Whoa, you have one?
Yeah.
You have one?
Yes, we have one. Yeah. We're in curriculum development right now.
Can I apply to come as a guest
lecturer?
No,
you are coming to teach. Yes, you are coming to teach. Don't worry, you are coming to teach.
No, but
I'm coming to teach, you're coming to mentor. No, I'm serious. I was actually going to talk to you about it outside of it. So you are coming to teach. It's even good that you have said it in front of everybody now. So you are coming. So you are coming to teach. So we need people who are already in the game, who should then come out and speak to these people in their 30s and early 40s and late 20s and let them know these are the things that we need to do to prepare to upturn things. We just have, see, any attempt for things not to start to change rapidly in the next 10 years, we may miss a wave.
We've gone.
There's a wave.
There's
a wave. With all this COVID, with technology and all that, it's a wave. And when we get to it not changing us, it becomes a bad thing. It's like getting used to, you know, something that's supposed to be a tsunami that will change us. If we allow it not to change us, we miss that wave. We have to wait for another one.
Whoa. Ladies and gentlemen, my pastor has just blown me away. If there is one thing that I want you to take away from this, please do not be the sidestepped generation. That word for me is the word of the day. Do not refuse to be the sidestepped generation. The church has a lot to do with government. They must play a role in politics, and you have that role to play. Pastor, take it away. Give them the last words. Me, I'm just listening. I step out. Fire away. Let's hear your last words.
So my final word for everyone listening, young or old, middle age, is that Nigeria can change in our generation. There's a need for collaboration between the faith community, the church, the political sector, the private sector, and the civil society organizations. We all need to come together to see what we need to do, consultations and all that. And then we need to also focus on the younger generation and give them opportunities. Most of us got our opportunity